Now, why might you want to call us? Why are people even calling us about starting a career in real estate? What is so attractive? What is the benefit? What is the reason why people would go through? And ultimately, to get a real estate license in Florida, it's significantly easier than almost every state out there. If you've got a state that you think is easier to get a real estate license in, please let me know. I'd like to compare and contrast. But in terms of what's required, you take Texas, for example. If you want to get a real estate license in Texas, a lot of people are moving to Florida and Texas right now, two very popular states. But if you're getting a real estate license, they couldn't be more different. The real estate laws are very different, and there's not as many laws protecting the consumer in Texas as there are in Florida. At least that's my opinion. We could split hairs over it, and people in Texas will say, well, no, we make our realtors do like 200 hours of training just to get their license, whereas in Florida, it's only 63 hours. So a 63-hour course that could be completed in as little as 1 week. You could potentially even do it even faster than that with one of our on-demand programs. We have 4 different options to get your real estate license, but potentially 1 week. And maybe a few extra days. So if you look on our reviews, if you Google TSRE and check out our reviews, you'll see tons of people. We actually had somebody the other day said 18 days. 18 days is how long it took them start to finish to go from going through the course to actually passing their exam, getting their real estate license. We could help guide you through that to make this as simple, as pain-free, as easy as possible. Getting your license in 18 days, that doesn't just happen. That's a very intentional effort, and I forgot who the name was, but congratulations to you if you're watching, if you got your license in 18 days, or anyone who's getting their license in 30 days or less, or really anybody who's just getting their license in general. It doesn't matter how long it's going to take you. What matters is that you get there, that you get to the point where you can have unlimited income potential. And we'll talk about how that actually works. We'll talk about how you get to be your own boss. Yes, you have to have a registered broker that oversees to make sure you're not doing anything illegal, but ultimately you are your own boss. And what we found recently is there's less and less people getting into real estate just for the sake of money, but a lot of people are getting into real estate for the schedule flexibility, to being able to make your own schedule, to not just having to show up at an office at 8 a.m. and work until 5 p.m. and you're a slave to the time clock or whatever the case may be, to where you're not in control of when and how it is that you work. Again, this takes intentional effort. This doesn't just happen, and that's why we're here every Friday, as well as everything else we do at Tampa School of Real Estate to help set our students up for success, the best it is that we possibly can. So we're constantly trying to innovate to help more people get to this type of freedom that a career in real estate allows. You know, one of the things that's been the most rewarding for me about real estate is the investment potential that you unlock. I was just doing one of our Ask the Instructor live online study groups this Wednesday, and we had somebody that was coming in from Ohio. They're moving to Florida here, so they're getting the real estate license in Florida, and they were in our live online Ask the Instructor study group that's included with our Pass First Try bundle. We've got the best exam prep tools in the state of Florida, and that now includes live online weekly review online study guide sessions. And I love doing these because I get to get connected with people going through these processes, starting their career, or people that are just transferring their career. And he had his license there in Ohio, and he's got over 50 investment properties in Ohio. And so you don't need a real estate license to invest. You don't need to be a real estate licensee to be able to be a real estate investor. It's possible to invest in real estate without a real estate license. However, you unlock significantly more opportunities, potential, and capabilities by having a real estate license. And one of the best parts about getting started is you could jump into this full-time, but most people are starting their real estate careers part-time, myself included. I got my real estate license and I stayed part-time for probably about 6 months before I quit my job to go work in real estate. And you must be thinking, oh, wow, John, you were 6 months in, you were making a ton of money. Well, no, I actually did a bunch of things wrong. I did a bunch of things wrong. I didn't have proper guidance. I didn't have the right support. I didn't have a path laid out for me. There was so much that I just missed out, and it's my own fault. I can't blame anybody but myself for putting myself in this situation. But also at the same time, this information wasn't as easy to come by. There wasn't a real estate school that's out there delivering weekly YouTube videos. I mean, YouTube was a much newer thing back when I got my real estate license, but it was still there. I don't know if they had live videos though, but there were still YouTubes. And people could go on YouTube and learn a few things, but there's so much information out there now. And it's almost the problem where there's misinformation. And so that's the thing that, so I'm a broker with multiple licenses, and I have a specific brokerage that focuses on new agent. It's there's kind of be like a startup to help new agents get off their ground and get their business going. And one of the things that I've noticed is if you don't have a clearly laid out set of information plan, whatever it may be, whatever it relates to, if you go on Google, if you end up turning to Google to find out the information it is that you need, you're going to find out 27 different answers to the same question. And you know what? The thing is, there might be a handful of them that are correct, not just one of them. And it depends on the situation, it depends on the scenario. So the beauty of there being so much information out there is, you know, there's so much information that a lot of times you can find the answers to things you had no idea about just with a simple Google search. But at the same time, Google doesn't know everything. And despite them trying to build like a super god AI type of thing that could answer every single one of your questions, your source of information all of a sudden becomes a lot more important of where am I getting credible information that relates specifically to Florida, that relates specifically to the contracts and documents that I'll be using here in Florida, that relates specifically to the laws and practices here in Florida, that relates specifically to even as something simple as your exam. Look, there's a ton of nationwide schools out there. The nationwide schools have basically gone and bought up all the local schools in Florida. So if you're not taking a class with Tampa School of Real Estate, there's a high likelihood you're taking class with some big corporate conglomerate where you're a very small number on a very large roster of international students. And that's not, I'm not here to knock, you know, just knock all the Goliaths out there, but at the same time, when you're a jack of all trades, you're a master of none. And every state has different licensing laws. Every state has different real estate laws. Every state has little differences to where you want someone that's focused on your neck of the woods. You want someone that's focused on what's going to be on your Florida real estate exam. You want someone that's going to be focused on what's actually important for practicing real estate in Florida here. And so that's constantly the question that we're trying to solve. How do we better serve our students here? You know, we've thought about, you know, oh, we could offer classes in Georgia and this state and that state and all these other states. But at the end of the day, we want to keep our focus on the people here in Florida because we know that's what makes the big difference with people taking classes with Tampa School of Real Estate. Even if you're not in Tampa, you're taking classes with a school that's locally owned right here in the state of Florida, not some like just big corporate conglomerate that has thousands of different owners and none of which you could ever get in touch with. So what does it take to get your real estate license? Not much, actually. So everything we just talked about here, being able to have unlimited income potential, and that just simply comes from how many houses do you want to sell, because there's no limit. You could literally sell as much real estate as you could sell for as much money as you could sell it for. You get a $100 million listing, well, you could earn a 3% commission on that. You could earn a higher commission, maybe a lower commission. It's what you negotiate. And because this is your business, you're your own boss, even though you have a supervising broker until you're able to get your own broker license, then you could go out completely 100% on your own. But you have that supervising broker where most agents don't want to even get their own broker license just because for the cost their broker charges, whatever commission split or transaction fee to provide that support system, it's usually so worth it that it oftentimes doesn't make sense for an agent to go get their broker license, especially if you're just doing real estate part-time, doing it on the side. There are part-time brokers out there, but you don't need to be a broker to be making 6 figures in real estate, to be making 7 figures in real estate. There's real estate sales associates that are making 7 figures a year. That's not common. That's not standard. This isn't something where you go buy our course and all of a sudden you got checks coming in the mail. No, there's so much, again, about being intentional about it, about the work it is that you're putting in. But being that you're your own boss, you're the one in control of when you're working and how much you're working and what you're working on, that's what really truly unlocks your unlimited income potential. So getting back to what it is you've got to do to actually get your Florida real estate license. Number one, you've got to complete a pre-licensing course. It has to be a FREC-approved pre-licensing course. Again, we have 4 different methods to be able to complete this FREC pre-licensing course. We've got, if you like me and you want to do it on your own time, great news. We've got a video on demand course that's shot in the same exact studio here using this interactive whiteboard, and it's all short, easy to follow videos, and it works on our mobile app even for offline use. So that is probably the most advanced online course that's on the market right now for getting your real estate license. We also have a text-based version. So if you prefer to do it with text as opposed to having an instructor guide you through it, we have that option available as well. We have live online classes. So if you want a live instructor to guide you through this, we have those options. And we also have good old-fashioned in-person classes. And any of those instructor-led classes, you'll have a digital materials companion in your actual app. So whenever it is that you need to study, you could reference into those digital materials, or if you also purchase the exam prep, the additional optional exam prep, you'll have access to that through the app. You have to be at least 18 years old. So if you're at least 18 years old, you have a high school diploma or its equivalent, you don't worry about providing your diploma as long as you meet this qualification. It's a checkbox you'll check on your application. You do have to have a U.S. Social Security number. So you could actually go to the U.S. Social Security Administration to apply for one if you don't have one. You could be a foreign citizen. You don't have to be a Florida resident. You don't have to be a U.S. citizen, but you do have to have a Social Security number, which again, they do make you jump through some hoops if you don't have a Social Security number, but it can be done. You can get a Social Security number because you could get your real estate license in Florida. You don't have to be a resident, and you do not have to be a citizen even of the United States. So very easy there. You do have to get fingerprinted as well. So you do have to get fingerprinted. You're going to do that before you do your application. Once you do your fingerprints, then you're going to file your application. This might be the longest part of your process, is waiting for this application approval. This typically takes about 2 to 3 weeks. So if you want to get your license in 18 days, you definitely want to get your fingerprints and your application done as quickly as you possibly can. You can even do these while you're enrolled in the course. You can even do it before you're enrolled in the course. If you have any sort of criminal background and you're skeptical as to whether or not you think you get a real estate license, typically from what it seems, there isn't any black and white rule on this, and what it seems is as long as you've complied with the court requirements and it's not something too recent or something on their prohibited list of the things they're most concerned with, you've got really good odds of being able to get your real estate license. We also have attorneys that we could refer you to that could help you through this process if you do have a criminal background. You don't have a criminal background, you don't need to worry about your criminal background if you don't have one. So very simple there. And then this is the part where we're here to help you out with passing the exams. They're multiple choice, and even for your state exam, it's only a 75%. Now, if you want to be able to breeze through this exam on the first try, we've got exactly the recipe to do that. And it's what we call our pass first try strategy. So we're going to talk more about that in just a moment. But first, I want to focus on what you'd be getting with the course. So you need to have a FREC course. This one right here is for our video on demand. Again, this is the one I was talking about that features myself in the studio here. Short, easy to follow videos going through the entire course curriculum. It includes this textbook, so if you want the physical copy of the book, you'll definitely want one of our instructor-led classes. Our classroom, as well as live online classes, will include this instructor-led textbook with it. And like I said, any of our instructor-led programs, you'll also have app access to where you could access your digital materials right from the app. If you're taking this on-demand course, the entire course could literally be done right from the app, so it makes it super easy. You still need an internet connection to download it initially and transmit the results in there, but ultimately this makes it super simple, super easy to be able to access your course literally anywhere, and even when it's inconvenient, because it might not even be you going on a plane that doesn't have Wi-Fi or a plane ride that doesn't have any sort of internet. It might just be something as simple as you going on a car ride somewhere or sitting at an appointment in a waiting room and you don't have good internet. Your signal is only 1 or 2 bars. And if you are trying to watch videos on 1 or 2 bars, you've experienced buffering before. So you don't want to sit there waiting for buffering. That's where the app is so cool, because you could download the content for offline use. It's going to take up some space on your phone to save that on there, but do that when you're at home, when you've got a good internet connection, so that way when you're out and about, you could pull up the course very quickly, very smoothly, very seamlessly, because everything's loaded right onto the app. So that's something that's super, super beneficial about using that app, as well as just making it easier to get in there. So this is all included with your course here. Again, you could do this on-demand course like I'm showing here. You could do a live online course with a live instructor. That's really great if you can make the schedule work, especially because it keeps you accountable to that schedule. You've got to show up, and that class is going to keep moving, because if you're the type of person who likes to I'll give you a perfect example. Myself, I'm a big perfectionist, and it slows me down so much. Ultimately, it does help me in the end get better results most of the time, but I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of things that I don't ever accomplish just because I get so focused on trying to make it perfect, or even worse, I don't even get started because I get focused on making it perfect. So if you could relate to that, I understand exactly where you're coming from, and this on-demand course is fantastic, but having an actual live instructor that you need to show up to, it doesn't even have to be in person. Again, it could be online. That could be the difference maker between you breezing through this process versus it getting dragged out longer. So the video-based format makes it really easy to digest, really easy to take it in, and it's as close to an actual instructor live class as you're going to get without having to be on someone else's schedule. So if you've got a crazy schedule, this on-demand option is probably the best fit for you. But if you could make one of our live schedules work, again, that might be beneficial to you, especially if you'd rather, have someone else have that accountability for you. If you got to show up at this time, you've got to do what I say. And that doesn't still guarantee success. So if you're looking for a turnkey guarantee where you do nothing and you get success, that's not how real estate works. That's not even how passing this exam is going to work. But if you put the work in, and you put the right work in, that's what's very important. Not just passing your exam, but also in real estate, you put the right work in, you're going to get great results off of it. So if you don't want to take the guesswork out of it, that's where I would now include our Pass First Try bundle. And you can find more details about this at passfirsttry.com. But this Pass First Try bundle, this is a really great addition to any of our pre-licensing courses. Now, these are optional. You do not need the Pass First Try bundle unless you are trying to pass on the first try, which even then, you still don't need it. But if you want to take the guesswork out of it, I would say you need it. So again, this is optional. You don't have to include it here, but everything in this course will teach you what you need to know. The question, though, becomes, what do you need to remember? Because it's not everything in the course. And I could give you one great example right here. Let's switch over to this camera. So I've got two books in front of me here. Which book would you rather study? Would you rather study the 600-page book and try to know everything in the 600-page book, or would you rather study this 100-page book and try to know everything in this 100-page book? Because here's the difference. This is your course textbook. Now you might be saying, why is this book 600 pages and this book is only 100 pages? Well, we'll get to what this one is in just a second here. But this is your course textbook. And in these 600 pages is including all the information that makes our course FREC compliant. So in order for this course to meet the Florida Real Estate Commission approval, because remember, this has to be a FREC approved course. This is the same book that we're using in our classroom courses, as well as our live online courses, as well as our on-demand program. And this is the curriculum of the Florida Real Estate Commission. So everything that's going to be on your exam will be taught in this course, and then some. Because this is what we have to teach. This is what we recommend you study. I'm trying to get these close here so they're not looking like they're different in sizes and perspective. But this is 20%, less than 20% of the size of this book. And the way that we're able to cut that down to less than 20% is that this book, if we submitted this to the Florida Real Estate Commission, they'd laugh at us. And they'd laugh at us because this is nowhere near long enough to justify what's on the Florida Real Estate Commission syllabus. However, if this is not here to get you the credit to take the exam, it's instead here to help you zero in and focus on what's most important for your exam. That's where our Pass First Try bundle comes in. So this Weekend Prep workbook, this is a big part of the Pass First Try bundle, and what's really cool about it, so for example, here's our contract section here, and what's nice about this is it's got these QR codes where you could scan directly to the MP3 audio review for this section, to the question simulator for this section, or for the videos that follow along with this class here. And this is a fill-in-the-blank book here, so as you're going through this, you're basically filling this in, you're filling in some blanks, you're highlighting some things. There's some practice questions that you're going to have throughout this here, but it's very short, it's very to the point, and it's designed to be a much more condensed version of the course, which is exactly what all of the Pass First Try exam prep is. So we just talked about the Weekend Prep workbook, which is the companion to the Weekend Prep recording. And that's going to be your most detailed aspect of your Pass First Try bundle. But that's not everything you get. So let's take it on the flip side. The most detail is going to be your Weekend Prep recording with that Weekend Prep workbook. The most simplified is going to be your MP3 audio review. And what's great about this is a 5-hour audio review. So it takes the entire 63-hour course. That's how long this is here. That 600-page textbook. It's a 63-hour course, and it condenses it down now to 5 hours. Again, how do we do that? Well, we cut out all the stuff that we're required to teach that isn't as important for your exam. That's literally the main component of our Pass First Try bundle. That's the secret sauce. The secret sauce is us just telling you to focus on what's most likely to be on the exam. And why are we so good at this? Well, because we've helped so many people, specifically with Florida. All of our students are just Florida. We're not getting confused by information from other states and people in other states. Our students try to confuse us. If you're coming from another state and you're calling into us, you're saying, what about this? Hey, this is how we do it in California. This is how we do it in Texas. This is how we do it in North Carolina. Look, when you guys call in and tell us that, it confuses us because we are focused on Florida. We know Florida inside and out. The other states, we're maybe not your best go-to for that. But if you're trying to go through Florida as quickly, as fast, as efficiently as you possibly can, we're going to be your best resource for that information because we've helped so many people specifically with the Florida real estate exam. And we've taken that knowledge of all the people that we've helped and distilled it down into these tools in the Pass First Try strategy. And that MP3, think of this now, in 5 hours, that 60-hour course across 5 hours, you could go through the course 12 times in the form of the audio review. Whereas if you're going through the actual course, this video course, you'll maintain 1 year access. All of our tools, we give you 1 year access to this here. So you could go back for finish the course in a week, in 2 weeks, in a month, however long it takes you to go through it, because this is on demand and at your own pace. But if you have extra time, let's say you go through it in a week, you still got 51 weeks left, your entire year, to review this material. But you're reviewing everything, which at some point you'll eventually get there, but don't underestimate how much information is in that 600 pages, especially when you realize this 100 pages is what's important. And so that's where our exam prep comes in. I highly recommend it. You don't need it if you just want to meet the requirement. That's what this course will do up here. But if you want to expedite this licensing process as quickly as possible, that's why we call it the Pass First Try strategy. A couple other things you'll have in here. You have the question simulator, which give you hundreds of practice questions structured just like the exam, and it pulls from the exact same ratios it'll use on your state exam to really create truly mock exams. But the best part about it is, I don't know if you could really see it here. You can kind of, it's a little blurry, but this feedback that pops up right away, and it has these explanations in here that are ultimately so much more important than the question themselves. So you can see this is a relatively short piece of feedback, and that's because we try to keep everything super simple. And so if you want to get back to the basics, we'd recommend going back into the MP3, reviewing that unit a little bit, or if you want to get in more detail, we'd recommend going into the Weekend Prep. And if you really want the instruction manual on how to use all of these tools, that's what we do in the Secrets of the Exam. That's what we recommend you do first, because it'll break down how this exam is structured, how the questions are asked, how to approach studying for this exam, how to use all of these tools in your Pass First Try strategy. So that Secrets of the Exam, that's the best place to start off with. And that is our Pass First Try strategy. And like I said earlier, there's also weekly live exam prep study groups where everything you need to know is already in these tools, but we have these live weekly online meetups, so that way you could go on there with other people that are getting ready to take their exam, talk about a couple of things, get some feedback on what you should do to further study, how to use some of these other tools, as well as actually do review of certain topics, just little quick reviews of things that are already covered throughout here, but again, just an extra layer of more content to, again, help keep you zoned in and focused as much as possible. And the live aspect really helps people out of just, again, having a place to show up to keep yourself committed to getting this done. So that's our Pass First Try bundle. That's going to help you get your exam and license in the fastest amount of time possible, taking that course there and getting through all of this. But one final thing I have to share with you here is the real world information. And that's what we're looking at down here at the bottom. So this course up at the top here, as well as all the exam prep, This focuses on what the FREC deems important, which is mainly laws and rules. The Florida Real Estate Commission is not testing you on how good of a business person you are or how much money they think you could make. So don't expect to learn about how to be a good business person or how to make a ton of money in real estate in your pre-licensing. That's not the objective of the course. I'd love to teach that course to you, number one, but you won't have a real estate license after it. You have to take this FREC required course that focuses on these laws and rules because, believe it or not, that's what this government body wants and is most concerned with. Do you know the laws and rules, and are you going to follow them? And so we're going to test you on them to make sure you know them and make sure you know to follow them. But that's not going to help you once you get your license when you're actually trying to do business. You'll know that contracts need to be in writing and signed. You'll know that a deed is the document to deliver ownership. You'll know that a mortgage is used to finance the property. You'll know maybe how to come up with the value of a property. So appraising is something pretty valuable that you learn in your pre-licensing course. But when it comes to actually making money, to presenting offers rather than just knowing what has to be in a contract, to trying to persuade buyers and persuade sellers and really being confident in the day-to-day activities it is that you're doing, that's where we have these different courses here that are now part of our Complete Jumpstart bundle. So you have your post-licensing, which has always been the biggest part of our Complete Jumpstart bundle because this is a 45-hour FREC requirement. And this is for your first renewal. This is for your first renewal. It requires these 45 hours of post-licensing. Now, the good news is, even though this is a FREC course, because you might be saying, aren't those the same people that are making me study all these laws and rules? And the answer is yes, but that's for your pre-licensing, your 63-hour pre-licensing. Your post-licensing, there's no state exam. There's no state exam, and it's a very fluid, very open syllabus for post-licensing, where it gives us a lot more flexibility to teach topics that are related to real estate. And there is a certain aspect of laws and rules in there, a very minimal aspect of it, because again, the main focus of this course isn't necessarily for passing an exam or knowing the laws and rules. You've already proven you know that. This course is mainly focused on how do you do real estate. How do you be a good real estate agent? How do you build the foundation of a good real estate business? So that's your post-licensing course. And like I said, this is actually a requirement. You have to have it done by your first renewal. I waited until right before my deadline, which is about 18 months after you get your license, to do this. And I kicked myself because there was so much valuable information that you don't want to pass this up. You want to take this course as soon as you can because there's going to be more to learn and it's all going to build on what's in here. By not taking this course as soon as you're licensed, you're holding yourself back from being able to learn these more advanced, more superior pieces of information that are really going to help you grow your business. But two other bonuses here. So we've got a recording of a Mortgage 101 class. So you're not the mortgage person in a real estate transaction, you're the real estate agent, but you want to know enough about financing and mortgages to help people realize opportunity and get them connected to a mortgage lender, someone like Robert Paredes. He's extremely knowledgeable, and this is a course that if you take it live, you can actually get 3 hours of CE credit for it. Unfortunately, with the on-demand version of it, it's just for informational purposes, but that alone makes this course worth it because you're going to learn all about the pre-qualification products, all about going through the process of getting a loan approved. You're going to learn about the different programs that are out there, about different types of loans for self-employed people, for independent contractors, for all kinds of different things, to where if you understand these opportunities are out there, you can help more people realize the dream of home ownership. And this other one right here, this is our latest edition. We just launched this course, so this is one very near and dear to my heart because this document right here was something that held me back significantly when I got started in real estate, and it's the FAR Bar As Is contract. I didn't know how to write up an offer on it. Because I didn't know how to write up an offer on that contract, I was basically talking people out of wanting to buy a house any way I possibly could. I didn't know I was doing this, but looking back, I realized I was doing this. And so what ultimately happened here is I didn't start to actually get deals until I understood this contract to a certain degree. Once I had a basic understanding of the contract, I still didn't know everything, but once I knew enough of it, I was confident to actually start sending out offers on behalf of my buyers. And so that's what this class is designed to do. And we cover these essentials. Number one, the FREC says you got to take this one. So we got to get you your 45 hours to keep the FREC happy, and we pack this with as much business info as we can. But then there's two other things that you really got to have a basic level of knowledge. These are little 3-hour courses. So these are short, easy classes to get done. But you got to know finance. Not everything, because you'll have a mortgage lender that's going to help get your clients through the financing process, but you got to know some basics. And this is where really it's your moment to shine here, is the contracts. Because that's what we negotiate on. That's how we establish our commissions with. So finance and contracts are two things you should really focus on to help get your business going. Because if you can't get your clients money, or you can't get somebody that's going to get your clients money, and your clients can't get money one way or the other, maybe they got their own bank and they could figure it out on their own. But that's not you being intentional about your business. If you really want to drive your business, you want to have these solutions available for your clients, even if it's not your job. Yes, that's the lender's job to do the lending, but it's our job to make sure our client gets the money, because if they don't get the money to buy the house, they don't buy the house, we don't get commission. So we don't want that. So we want to make sure they could get the money, and we want to make sure that we could write up the contract. Because if we don't have the deal written up, if we don't have a contract written up, you probably remember that from up here, is it's got to be in writing and signed. You're going to learn that in your pre-licensing. But what about what else beyond it being in writing and signed? What needs to be in writing? What needs to be signed? And the good news is you're not writing up contracts from scratch. You're using contracts that are pre-written by the Florida Bar and the Florida Realtors, and we're just filling in the blanks. So this course is going to walk you through line by line that entire agreement, show you how to fill it out, what to go where, as well as provide you additional resources if you have further questions about any of these agreements. There's a really great benefit that you have with the Realtors being the Florida Realtors legal hotline. So we talk about that. We talk about the agreement, and this whole package here where you're getting your pre-licensing course, your textbook, the app, all of the exam prep, all of these tools to get your business off the ground. We call this our complete Jumpstart. The Complete Jumpstart is here to help jumpstart your real estate business. So if you want to get the Complete Jumpstart, we have those options available on our website. But like I said, again, if you have any specific questions, you can reach out to us directly at 813-333-2676. Again, that's 813-333-2676. If you want to do this Complete Jumpstart bundle, we actually have a very significant sale we're running at tampaschoolofrealestate.com right now, or you can just go right to tsre.us if you don't want to type in tampaschoolofrealestate.com. This will take you right here as well. So we have a very limited time sale running right now that's going to save you a very significant amount if you do one of these Complete Jumpstart packages on any of our courses. You could do it with the on-demand program, you could do it with the text-based programs, you could do it with the live online instructors as well as the in-person instructors. We want to get you the information you need, not just to get your license, not just to check the box that you took the course to get your license. That's a great start. But what are you really doing here? What are you ultimately trying to accomplish? And if it's selling real estate and making commission doing it, that's where all these other tools come in to get you there so much faster. Or maybe even get you there at all. Because maybe without this guidance here, you end up lost and scared and confused to where you throw in the towel on your real estate career. And that's the last thing we want to see anybody do. Even if you just do real estate part-time, it could be so lucrative, just even from a referral basis. Check out some of our past episodes, or again, just reach out to us directly, 813-333-2676. Our advisors would love to walk you through this more in depth to help you understand everything that real estate could be for you and all the potential and opportunities it could unlock. And again, we've got tons of content on our website, so feel free to check out tsre.us. I want to thank you all for joining us live today to go over what is needed to start a real estate career. Again, for further details, I'll put this phone number up one more time, 813-333-2676, or visit us online at tsre.us. That's about all the time we've got for today, so thank you again for tuning in, and we'll be back next Friday for another episode of State of Real Estate. Have a great weekend, everyone. So you just got your real estate license. How can you jumpstart your real estate business? The number one thing you should do before you do anything else is post-licensing. Now look, this is already a requirement, so you're gonna have to do it anyways, but here's why you wanna do it early. The sooner you do post-licensing, the sooner you're gonna learn the real-world concepts in post-licensing that will help you create a business plan, that'll help you plan for your success in real estate. Post-licensing is all about real-world topics that are usable, that'll help you grow your real estate business. And at Tampa School of Real Estate, we have the best post-licensing post-licensing courses around. Find out more about how post-licensing can help you jumpstart your real estate career. Go to postflorida.com. Are you studying for your Florida real estate exam? If you are, you need to check out our Pass First Try strategy. You're gonna love this. It's 4 steps that we break down the process to study for your Florida real estate exam. So you're set up to pass your Florida real estate exam because that's what you're studying for, right? To pass your exam. It's 4 steps. Number 1, you learn the information. You've got to learn this to be able to pass the exam, but it doesn't stop at learning. Step 2, you've got to reinforce the basic, simple, key concepts. As you learn this information, keep reviewing the simple things. You don't need to know everything, but you got to review these basic key concepts. Step 3, you've got to test your knowledge. The exam's going to test your knowledge, so if you don't test your knowledge in advance, you won't find out if you know what you think you know until you take the exam. And then step 4 is be confident and prepared, because even if you know this material, you need to be confident that you know the material. Check out the full strategy at passfirsttry.com. That's passfirsttry.com. Have you been thinking about getting your Florida real estate license? Look, the process is probably easier than you think. We break it down step by step, how much it's going to cost, what it is that you need to do to get your Florida real estate license. Find out all of that and more at licensefl.com. Again, that's licensefl.com.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate.